Some 1,200 North Vietnamese troops tried to overrun an American base near the Cambodian border today, but American soldiers fired artillery shells point blank into the enemy ranks. Then U.S. air support helped finish the job. More than 100 North Vietnamese were killed, while American casualties were described as light. Signs of growing flexibility in the statements of Hanoi and the Viet Cong recently.
David Shoemaker, CBS.
In the war itself, 111 enemy troops were killed and 29 captured in an unsuccessful attempt to overrun a U.S. base near the Cambodian border. The 6-hour battle left 9 Americans dead and 62 wounded. Elsewhere, enemy gunners, apparently armed with improved anti-aircraft weapons, shot down 2 more helicopters, boosting to 34. In Saigon, the U.S. command reported that 205 Americans died and 135 were wounded. South of Vietnam reported 168 combat fatalities. Enemy losses were put at 3,414. Many of the casualties were inflicted in clashes near the Cambodian border. And earlier this week, the North Vietnamese launched their heaviest attack in 2 months there in an attempt to overrun an American outpost. We have a report on the outcome from CBS newsman Larry Pomeroy.
It was 2 o'clock in the morning here at landing zone. Guarding the perimeter, the whole world seemed to explode. First came barrages of rockets and mortars, then waves of North Vietnamese Army regulars, 10 companies in all, from North Vietnam's 1st Division. But what was considered a well-planned attack turned into a slaughter. And hours after the battle, the grim evidence still litters the camp. At least 3 sandbag bunkers were quickly enveloped in the face-to-face fighting, and the distance from the bodies to one of the bunkers shows just how. Lieutenant Peter Jackson was in command of 2 of the bunkers reached by the enemy.
Very large mortar barrage that lasted for about half an hour or so. After that led up approximately 30 to 70 of the enemy here. They charged these 2 particular bunkers here through satchel charges into the bunkers and then put a outstanding job moving their people back. And in case of Sergeant Pike, actually shot 7 of the NVA as they tried to get in his bunker. I think more than any one man around here is responsible for the turning back of this particular attack.
Have you experienced fighting like this before?
I've only been in the country for 2 months. This is the first time I've ever been on an LZ that hits, and if it's the last time, I'll be very glad.
In the distance, a helicopter gunship fires at enemy movements. The 2nd Battalion of the 1st Air Cavalry's 1st Brigade stood enemy. The night before, the artillery batteries were laboring mightily to stop the enemy with a wall of lead. Beehive rounds, something like the pellets of a shotgun blast, were fired at point-blank range. The effect was devastating. It sliced off heads and arms. And perhaps the artillery, as well as the gunships from above, explained why for every American killed, 11 North Vietnamese died. A mortar round landed squarely in the ammunition dump. The attackers were well equipped, and the trailer loads of captured equipment are adequate testimony to that fact.
There's no question the North Vietnamese defeat here was devastating, but no one could persuade the men of landing zone Carolyn they couldn't be attacked again tonight. That fact may fly in the face of logic, but then that's the way the war goes here. Larry Pomeroy, CBS News, landing zone Carolyn.
This fellow was coming to the withdrawal of about 50,000 troops later this year. There was comparatively little fighting in Vietnam, but an outburst of terrorist bombings killed 6 persons and wounded 67. South Vietnam has announced a ceasefire for Buddha's birthday on May 30th. American casualties rose again last week, 205 killed, 1,288 wounded. South Vietnamese losses were lower, estimated enemy killed 3,414. Border, a North Vietnamese force attacked an American landing zone. Casualties were heavy. NBC News correspondent Bob Jones reports.
Landing zone Carolyn is so well defended that nothing short of an infantry division could hope to take it. Nevertheless, the North Vietnamese tried with about 500 troops from their crack 95C regiment. The first wave of enemy forces was cut down outside the barbed wire, but they kept on for several hours. Others got into the pits with the artillery cannons. 9 Americans were killed, 60 were wounded. The battle lasted 6 hours. 33 of the enemy were taken prisoner. Usually there are no prisoners, but some of these were green combat troops who had just come down from the north. Some came out of their holes and gave up in the morning. One committed suicide with a hand grenade rather than surrender. The retreating enemy continued. The observation chopper was hit but managed to land safely. Bob Jones, NBC News, at Landing Zone Carolyn.
The Huntley